or what you love more. We all love. We are all attached to something. It's just a question of who and what you love more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala requires that you divert this emotion, which is innate and inherent in every human being, to Allah. You divert your love to Allah. When you truly love Allah as Allah should be loved, then you begin to love everything that is connected to Allah. Everything. Although this is no comparison, and what maybe one should even abstain from drawing such an analogy. But when one human being loves another, that person loves everything about the other person. Even things that are offensive to other people, this person finds them to be pleasant and enjoyable and non-offensive, simply because of love. When a person loves his children, when a person, man or woman, loves their spouse, they are willing to tolerate everything. Love is in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. And if we can do this with each other, with human beings, that when we begin to love something, we love everything attached to that person, attached to that concept, connected in any way with that person or with that thing, then why can't we do that with Allah and His Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam? Why can't we channel and direct that love to Allah? If we do, we will begin to love Allah as Allah should be loved. And this is going back to the verse which I mentioned right at the beginning. وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَن يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. There are amongst mankind those who take equals besides Allah. They love them as Allah should be loved. Meaning the way a person, a human being, a servant of Allah should love Allah, with that same intensity, with that same devotion, he loves equals besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And those equals can be anything. False gods, idols, celebrities. Why do you think people love sportsmen, sportswomen, stars, celebrities, actors, actresses, musicians, performers? Why? Why are they called stars and idols and icons? All of these words, look at the wording. An icon is something to be worshipped. An idol is something to be worshipped. Stars used to be worshipped. There's an element not just of admiration, but there's an element of love, devotion, and almost worship in every one of these words and concepts. And that's true. People worship celebrities. People worship sports stars. People worship musicians and singers and pop stars. People worship actors and actresses. They love everything about them. Many of our teenagers, they'll wear clothing with emblems and signatures of sports stars. It's all a sign of devotion and attachment. Anything that is loved as Allah should be loved, besides Allah, that thing becomes an icon, a star, an idol, a nid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, a rival that someone has placed as an equal to Allah. And people, they love them as they should have loved Allah. They devote their energies, their minds, their lives to these people, to these things, to these concepts. It doesn't have to be a human being. It can be a false god, it can be a statue, it can be a stone, it can even be an ideology, it can be a concept or a philosophy. Anything which is taken as a complete rival and equal to the authority and position of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala becomes a nid to Allah, a rival that someone places as an equal to Allah. And people love these concepts, philosophies, gods, idols, or even people as they should have loved Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That love which is reserved for the Creator, they supply that love to others. And Allah Azza wa Jalla says immediately after, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. And those who are believers, they love Allah even more intensely than any one of these people can love their false gods and idols. Those who are true believers, true mu'mineen, those who are true mu'mineen, the way they love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, no love of any human being for any false god, statue, country, flag, philosophy, concept, pop idol, celebrity or star can match the love of a true believer for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Never. Never. And that's true. And a person cannot become a true believer. A person cannot taste the sweetness of Iman until he reaches that level. Have you seen how many people, they devote themselves, they sacrifice themselves to ways of life and to philosophies and concepts other than Islam, and the devotion that they show, the intensity that they display, it's just unbelievable. That's a sign of their love. People go to great lengths for love, for human bestial love. When a man loves a woman and vice versa, what do? Entire families are broken up. Loyalties of 20, 30 years are discarded. Allah forgive us. The vows of marriage are discarded and forgotten. Loyalty is cast aside. Love is cast aside. Every consideration is cast aside because of this bestial love. And people, there are countless cases in the annals of history of people sacrificing their lives because of their loved ones. Lovers committing suicide together because they wish to remain together in death rather than to live apart. That's love. And if someone tries to speak to them, they say, you won't understand. You won't understand. You cannot understand. That's love. Love is blind. People give up kingdoms and countries and thrones because of their love. King George V in the UK, in the last century, he was destined to become king. But he fell in love with a certain woman and he wanted to marry her. But the constitution of the country did not allow a marriage to take place between these two individuals. So he had to make a choice. And he was supposed to be king. He either ascends the throne and forgoes his love for this woman, or he abdicates the throne. He renounces right to the throne of the British Empire. What did he do? Even in his false love, he proved himself to be true. And he renounced his throne and he abdicated and left the country with his wife and lived in exile. He gave up his whole country, the crown of the British Empire, because of his false love. I say false in the sense that any love which is besides the love of Allah is false. He gave up his crown and country and the throne of the whole British Empire because of his love for one woman. And there are countless cases and stories of history. When you love someone, this is what you do. That's true sacrifice. And others will not understand why somebody does that. But only a person who is engrossed in that love can explain. Maybe he won't even be able to explain. One can only experience that intensity of emotion, that love, that drives one to ultimate sacrifices and ultimate heights of ecstasy, meaning emotional ecstasy. And, when a believer reaches that stage, nobody can match him. That's why in a hadith related by Imam Bukhari and Imam Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, ثلاث من كن فيه وجد بهن حلاوة الإيمان أن يكون الله ورسوله أحب إليه مما سواه. There are three things which if found in a person, that person, because of these three qualities, will actually taste the sweetness of Iman. He will taste the sweetness of Iman. And you and I, for us, these are just words, just a translation of words. The sweetness of Iman, the sweetness of faith. We can't understand it. You can't explain this to someone. One has to taste it and experience it. I often give an example. We've heard of ulama in the past. People say, such and such a scholar, such and such a saint, such and such a pious person from history, from amongst the Sahaba, after the Sahaba, from amongst the Tabi'een, those who came after, maybe even of the recent past. They used to perform so many raka'at,